Okay, here we have a CoolerMaster 690 on the bench. We'll be doing some mods to it. Gonna have a good look at it, poke around it, see what I think of it. First one I've had on my bench. I know a lot of people like these cases, so I might as well learn about it. Here's the 690 chassis. Looks very, very nice. Appears to be a powder-coated finish, which I can find out more about. But if that's the case, you can powder coat over powder coat. Means no stripping. That's a beautiful thing. But it's beautiful as it is. Here's the top panel, which is part of what I'm going to be fooling with. Okay, here you can see the gubbins. All I need to do here is a wire tie, and then we can easily change out these red cables for some black round SATA 3 cables. This is held in with some hot glue, this part right here, if you'll see. So I'll mess with that a little more finesse later with both hands. And then what I usually do is I take these and I make one sheathed bundle with like a little squidded end using small heat shrink, then larger heat shrink than the sleeving. Some people call it sheathing, some people call it sleeving. Okay, then we have this. Okay, this will get depenned, sleeved, heat shrink on each end. Okay, these puppies here. Okay, this gets sleeved, sleeved, and maybe I'll just use 1/8" heat shrink, and that'll hide all the wiring from this. And that'll be one little mod I'm doing for it. First thing I do is I depen the Molex, put a little piece of heat shrink over it just to keep all the ends from snagging, and then I use some of this lovely stuff here, which I've heat sealed the end. Okay, and get it started on in there if it will be so obliging. Get it going. And see, when you push, it expands. And the way I get my length is I stop right about where I want to stop, leaving enough room that I can cut it and push it on past. This way I don't have to guesstimate how well it's going lengthwise. As you can see, I got about that much there. So, and what I can do here is I just cut that there. I use diagonal clipper, melt it. Okay, just to get the ends to fuse together. Okay, not too much, don't get crazy. You just don't want it to be fraying all over the place. Okay, and push it on past. Okay, and I got it about where I want. Okay, enough for what I want. Could be just a little bit shorter, which is easy enough to adjust. All you do is just pull it out again, snip it. Okay, I think I need to take about 1 inch something off of there. Again, melt it. Okay, then push it on while it's still kind of soft so that it'll go over it. Okay, now I'm going to have about this much that I can put heat shrink over, and I'll have about the same on the other end. Okay, I'll take some heat shrink that'll fit over it. Okay, that'll fit. Okay, take some of this, cut myself a length that's appropriate to what I want. Slip it over the whole deal. And then I slip it over the whole heat shrink. And just push it on down to the very end. And it's better to grab a hold of this end and just go zoop, and then bring it on down there, and get it over that end the way you want, and then you come back and do it again. And then you heat each end with a lighter, and then cut the heat shrink off the pins that I put on there, and put it back on the Molex housing, and you're done. Now before I heat it, I like to cut it first. You don't want to cut the insulation or anything, you just want to cut the heat shrink off of there. Okay. And the way these go back on is there's a ridge that you can feel, and that's where the yellow one goes, then two black and a red. So you just do them like this, they're all in it at the same time, and you push them until they click. Then you test it, make sure it's right, pull that up, and that looks nice. I have a fan going, so it's not making my life any easier, but without a fan it's a lot easier. And what I do is I just watch what the heat shrink is doing, and I keep the flame moving. You got to make careful that you do not melt the tech flex, and that's how that works. Okay, here we are messing with the USB and the audio coming from the front panel. We're going to try and make it look a little nicer. And they always include this little AC97 retro plug, and what I do is I take off this after, you know, making a little chart so I can put it right back exactly the same way. And then I take diagonal clippers and I get right up on it as close as I can to the metal, and I just get rid of all the AC97 crap, because it just, you don't use it and it looks fugly. Okay. Just make sure you don't clip the little things off there. I have these kind of pins, so I could put some pins back on, but I sure don't want to, because they're very fiddly. Okay, and now you've D97'd your 2011 rig. Okay, just thought I'd show you how I did the USB and HD audio. First I pulled the pin housings off. I use a razor knife to lift them very gently and wiggle them out. Then I individually sheathed each one of these leads up to here. Then I put more heat shrink over that, more heat shrink over sleeving to the end. This will allow them to go where they gotta go on the motherboard, but it still keeps it looking neat. And basically the only part of this that you really see are these parts right here. So that's two down. Next up, front panel switches. I wanted to show you kind of my way of doing things. First I depinned the leads, figure out how I want to do them. This time I'm going to do them in pairs, little small pairs of them. So this is power and reset. Okay, I slip a piece of heat shrink all the way down to the end. I put a couple little pieces of heat shrink over it to hide the colored wire. Okay, then I push this up past it by basically just squeezing it here and just run it up. Okay, it's going to want to hop over these here. There we go. Okay, and then this right up over all of that to make it nice and tight. See how that's pulling it, making my heat shrink stay stretched out. And get that past it just a little bit. Doesn't have to go far. And I still have enough flexibility that I can put them however I want at the motherboard. And now all I got to do is heat it up. And what I do is I just move back and forth gently. If you got a fan on, this will be a real pain in the ass. And that's it. Okay guys, I just wanted to show you the final result of the fiddling around with the cable management. And we're all blacked out now. Everything's blacked out in either black sleeving or black cables, including the little controller dealy. So we're looking pretty good here, and this will be ready to snap right back on. Let you have a little better look at it. Okay, just to show you how I got the HD audio and the USB, and there's the Molex, the front panel. And there's you've got your HDD and PLED, and here you have your power and reset. Black SATA cables with locking ends that are round, and little fan deal, and it's ready to go back on the chassis. Next up, we'll be messing around with putting a pair of these and modifying them to internal USB and mounting them probably right there. Right there. Okay, I thought I'd just give you a final look at this blacked out cabling, and turn it on its side so you can get a little better light on it. Let's see how it looks, and everything fits nicely on the interior as well. Just comes out through the nice little holes there, and everything fits fine up in the top. Well, here it is, mounted up in the faceplate. Looks pretty sweet. Better to lay it down for you to be able to see it. But there it is, all ready to snap back on here. Just a second, I'll put the camera down for just a second while I use both my hands. Put this thing back together so you can look at it. Now that is pretty stealthy. Turns your PC into a console-friendly, at least for the controls, device. It is pretty sexy looking. And there you have it. The client wanted the back cut out for maximum airflow. Now, if you know about the 690, you know it has a raised surface with a hex mesh on it. So you can't cut out a nice round hole for a fan because you'll leave jagged parts of the hex mesh in the corners. So you have to have kind of a overlarge hole, which is not, you know, it's not ugly or anything, but it is what you have to do to make it happen. Just so you guys can see that really opens it up. If you look at it, you can see the blades won't be making any cavitation noises or whizzing noises against the edges, and that may improve airflow a tad. Of course, there's always a place for another 140 up top. Alright, I'm going to do the window next. Get ready to tape this up. Basically going to go from the perimeter of the cutout over 12 inches from the edge. And what that'll do is that'll show off the main part of the rig, but not the power supply and not the stuff over here. I got the window in and completed 100%. Originally, this is all the client wanted, was the little doodad built in the front. But you've already seen plenty of this, and some sleeving and a window. But he also wants some lights and some more sleeving and some rheostats put into some PCI plates. So we'll be doing that in a few days when the materials arrive. But I just thought I'd show you how far I've gotten in the past couple days. This is pretty much knocked out. And just got to do a few more little things to dial it into his satisfaction with the lighting and whatnot, and then we'll be done.